Hello, Phil Newton England, back with another Crystal Maze video. Now, I know I say this on a lot of my videos, but today we're going to be looking at something a little bit different. We're not going to be looking at Crystal Maze props, Crystal Maze costumes, or even Crystal Maze official merchandise. What we're looking at today is, well, it's very egotistical, but it's me. Who am I? Why this obsession with the Crystal Maze? Well, I like to think that I am one of Crystal Maze's biggest fans ever. Now, as you all know, the show started back in 1990, and back then I was just 19 years old. I came home from work one night, I put on the TV and I was flicking through the channels, and I came across this show where this bald-headed bloke, dressed really strangely, was locking these people up in this medieval castle after failing at these games. Now, I thought, this is absolutely amazing. It's like nothing I've ever seen before. Totally different show. So I carried on watching it. They moved on to this other area or zone, and I thought, it's just getting better and better. So I got the TV listings magazine. I'm like, what is it? What is it? Channel 4, The Crystal Maze. I've never even heard of it. Never even heard of it, but I love it. Now, it turned out that this was actually the first ever episode that I caught, so it was like fate for me to be flicking through the channels and find the show. Anyway, under the listings it said repeated on Tuesday. Now, I might have my days wrong here. I think this was a Thursday when I originally saw it. I might be wrong, as I said, but then it said repeated on Tuesday or something. So I thought, right, I'm going to record it. So that weekend I went into town, I bought a couple of VHS tapes, got ready on Tuesday, and I taped the first ever episode. And from then on, I taped every single episode afterwards, back in 1990. Yes, I still have the VHS tapes upstairs with the original airings on. I don't know what the quality will be like. Obviously, it degrades over time. I'm hoping to get them onto disc eventually, but you know, it takes time. There's a lot of episodes, and obviously time and money as well. I will be uploading them, hopefully. There's also like adverts, trailers, things like that on them, interviews with Richard O'Brien and Ed Tudor-Pole, which I'm hoping to upgrade onto disc eventually. Now, as you all know, Richard O'Brien hosted the first 4 series. I loved him. I thought he was fantastic. He was superb. But to me, he kind of started losing interest, if that's the right word, as each series went on. So by his 4th series, you could tell he was getting a little bit angry with the contestants, a little bit ratty. And I thought, you know, maybe it is time for a change. He thought that as well, and he did. Next up was Ed Tudor-Pole. Now, I said in one of my early videos that the first picture I ever saw of Ed was in, I think it was the Radio Times, and I just loved the look of him, the costume, the hair. I thought, it looks perfect. What's he going to be like? He came on, and I just thought it was fantastic. Now, I know a lot of people turned off when Richard O'Brien left. Shame on you if you did that. Watch the Ed Tudor-Pole episodes, because it's still the same show. There's 4 zones, there's a dome, there's games, you know, and it's fantastic. I love the show. I love the Crystal Maze, so it doesn't matter who presents it. It's the show that I love. It's the format. It's, like I said, it's the 4 zones, it's the games, it's the times, it's the watching the contestants struggle. It doesn't matter who presents it. I mean, I'm not that big a fan of Richard Ayoade. Don't kill me for that. But I still watch the show every week. I still tuned in because I love the Crystal Maze. So if you didn't watch Ed Tudor-Pole's, go back, rewatch them, because they're fantastic. Give him a chance. He's brilliant. Anyway, so as I said, Richard did the first 4 series, and then Ed Tudor-Pole did his first, technically series 5. And it was during that time, I went to bed one night and I had a dream that I was actually on the set. We got to visit the set, and I got to test one of the games. How prophetic is that? Not pathetic, prophetic. I was on the set testing one of the games, and I loved it. So as soon as I woke up the next day, I got a piece of paper, I drew the game down that I tested in my dream, and I thought, I'm going to send it off to the producers. So that's what I did. I sent it off to Chatsworth TV. About a week later, I didn't have email then, about a week later I got a reply from them saying it's a really good design, but it is a little bit too similar to one of the games that has appeared in the show. And to be fair, it was. I suppose that's what I dreamt. It was a slight variation of it. So they said it was a bit too similar, but if you have any more ideas, draw them down, send them in, and we'll have a look at them. So I got my mind working, looking around for ideas, and I came up with about roughly 8 to 10 different game ideas, and I sent them in. Again, about another week later, I got a letter back from them saying that they loved the games, and there's 4 that they would really like to use for Series 6, Ed Tudor Pulse second series, Season 6 of the series. And I'm like, what? So they sent me a copyright waiver, they sent me loads of form, which is what we're going to be looking at today. All the information, all the letters and things that I received from them about the 4 games that I designed for Series 6 of the Crystal Maze. So we're going to have a look at that then soon. With this fantastic bit of editing, let's have that closer look. So here we go. As I said, we're going to look at some of the letters that I received during the designs of the games I sent in. First letter then is here from Chatsworth Television, as you can see there, 31st of May 1994. I don't live at that address anymore, so there you go. Anyway, dear Mr. Newton, Crystal Maze, thank you for your letter and submission dated 27th of May 1994. It's a nice idea, and I will certainly consider it for Crystal Maze Series 6, which has just been commissioned. We don't go into pre-production for Series 6 until August, so if you don't mind, I will keep it in the relevant file until then. If we do decide to proceed with it, then I will be in touch about the relevant paperwork, fee, etc. That was referring to some ideas I had. I'd mentioned like getting a real horse in the medieval zone, Bert for Ed Tudor Pole, and a couple of other ideas. Some I can't really remember, just suggestions that they could do in the show. So that was regarding that. And then we go back. Incidentally, your earlier submission, the one that came to you in a dream, wasn't a bad idea, but I had 2 major problems with it. Firstly, it was just too similar to another game used in Series 4. Secondly, making the colour coding comprehensible to the audience would have made it too easy for the contestant, and vice versa. If you're planning to send me any more ideas, remember that simplicity and originality are key factors. Thank you for your interest in the programme. Yours sincerely, Justin Scroggy, Head of Games Development. So as I said, I did think of about another 8 to 10 games, which we'll look at in a minute. And then, as I said, they accepted 4 of them. And then the next letter I got was this one. Again, Chatsworth TV heading, Phil Newton, blah, blah, 20th of September 1994. Dear Miss Newton, Crystal Maze 6. We would like to confirm the following games so far for the 6th series of Crystal Maze: the Octopus game, Ballroom Clock, the Hexagon game, the Ship and Cubes game. We propose to pay you £125 per game. Please could you send us an invoice for £500 and sign the enclosed copyright waiver form. We are now halfway through with 24 games confirmed. In the next month, the remaining 25 must be devised, designed and confirmed and built. So if you are intending to submit further ideas, and in our telephone conversation recently, you promised to send several, I must receive them very soon if they are to stand a chance of consideration. Thanks for your help so far. With best wishes, again, yours sincerely, Justin Scroggy. So I got sent that letter, and with it came this, a copyright clause. I'm not going to read through all that. I just had to basically sign over copyright of my game ideas. But that just happens, that's part of the thing. I'd rather have my games on the show. So there you go, I had to sign that. Obviously, that's just a photocopy. I did sign, date the original one and send that back to them. So we are going to have a look then at the games. Again, I'll just move those to one side. And we'll start off, no particular order. The first one was the clock game. Now, I originally thought of this idea. I was looking around the house and I had the clock on the wall and it had the Roman numerals on it. And also just thinking like Trivial Pursuit, the little cheeses, the little pieces. sort of into triangular segments. And I thought, well, what if you cut up the clock into segments with the Roman numerals? So the one there could go there, there, and so on. And well, that you've seen the game probably. Now, originally I did devise that as a grandfather clock, a big grandfather clock. Again, you just put the pieces in, and the crystal was inside on a pendulum, so that when it was completed correctly, the door would pop open and you just grab the crystal from the pendulum. But obviously it was a bit too small, the actual game, so we needed to enlarge it for the TV cameras and obviously for the contestant to play. Next one up then, it is the Ship and Cubes game. Again, I'll just bring it a bit closer for you to start with. Again, just an idea that I came up with, it if the contestant stood at one side of the room, they could look up, see the port or starboard side, and match this side of the boat to the paintings. And vice versa, if they were stood on this side like they are there, they could look up at this picture and match the size there. Again, I originally did it like one cube and one sort of rectangular shape, and Justin said, "What is there a reason for that?" I said, "Not really, I just thought it looked different." So we said, well, let's just change it to 3 cubes so that you have extra sides as well, so it makes it even more difficult. Then obviously there's funnels. The other thing with this is when I originally designed it, once it was completed, I had it that this back section would flap down, like a ferry. When cars get on and off, it would flap down and the crystal would be sat there. But obviously slightly changed that where it comes out of the funnel at the end. Still a good idea. Next up then is the octopus game. As you can see there, line up the tentacles to release the crystal. Now again, in previous series they had this round table before that had discs on it, that had numbers on it and letters, so I knew that Artem, I think it was the company, could build that. I knew that was possible. And obviously my favourite zone was ocean. I was actually asked what my favourite zone is, so like 3 of the games obviously appear in ocean. Whether that was intentional or not, I don't know. Anyway, I knew they could build this sort of table. So I thought, what have we not had in Ocean Zone? We've had sharks, starfish, crabs, pirates. What have we not had yet? I thought, an octopus. We haven't had an octopus yet. So I thought, hang on, we'll do the tentacles around the discs, line them up. Now, originally, when I designed it, the octopus was completely green. There was no yellow dots on it. It was plain green. But obviously we were told that because of the camera, for the sake of the camera and the contestant, it had to be a bit more obvious if it was lined up correctly. So they've added the yellow spots on. In my opinion, it did make it a little bit easier, but that was a sacrifice we had to make, that it had to be visible both to the crew and to the viewers at home that it was lined up correctly. So that was like the only way really that it could be done. Again, if you look in the middle as well, I designed it so that when it was completely correct, the crystal would come out of the octopus's mouth. They actually stuck with that as well. They did that, and I really love that. Plus the fact they added a little gargle sound onto it as it pops out the mouth. So there you go. And then the 4th one is the hazard signs. Now, I'll let you into a little secret. I'd originally designed this for the Aztec zone. It was going to have all different Aztec symbols on it. But all the Aztec games had been taken up, so it got transferred to futuristic. Now, that's the first time I've ever admitted that. So yeah, it goes over to futuristic and had hazard symbols on it instead of Aztec symbols. And it works still quite well. The principle's the same. You've got to put all the pieces in without having 2 of the same next to each other. Again, another very good game. Very popular as well. There's one episode as well where there's like a meteor storm that hits the space station, and that's during that game as well, and it's really nice. It's just added that extra little bit. Okay then, so those are the 4 games I designed. I did come up with some more for series 7, but as you know, unfortunately that never happened. One other little final thing I will show you is this photocopy of the check that I got from Coots & Co. P. Newton £500. As I said, that's a photocopy. The cheque went into the bank long ago. That's my payment with a little complimentary slip from Chatsworth Television. So there you go then. Those are the 4 games that I designed for Series 6 of the Crystal Maze. I've still got a folder upstairs with hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of new games. I've contacted the Live Experience. They're not really interested. They didn't really get back to me. But they're there just in case the show ever does come back. So there you go then. I hope you've enjoyed that. Little details and little facts about the games I designed for the Crystal Maze. That's who I am, Phil New in England. Massive fan, and a very lucky fan indeed. Until next time, goodbye.